Relationships are very difficult to come by, but they are a necessary part of life. I believe that God made us all relational because we do need people. Whether it be a superficial hire by, whether it be a relationship based off of employment, romance, friendship, parental to child, any form of relationship is important and teaches us a lot of great lessons. Some lessons that we didn't have to walk down certain roads, and others that taught us lessons of a lifetime because we walked down those roads. Either way, a lot of lessons are meant to be learned, and sometimes in what I'm tackling today, we either quit too easily or we stay too long in situations that we're just better off not being traveled down that road. Listen, we've got a lot to talk about, so let's voice it. We're about to voice it with Friend Love One. Tune in. Welcome to Voice It with Fran Lavoie, and I'm your host, Fran Lavoie. And in today's podcast, I just felt like talking about relationships and, just when you should move forward versus when you should just keep trying. And this conversation for me sparked up because of a recent interview that the R&B sensation Chilli from TLC, that legendary group from the 90s, my all-time favorite group. She did an interview about her longtime relationship with the R&B singer Usher. For those of you who don't know, Chilli and Usher were in a relationship in the early 2000s, and they were adorable. On Usher's 8701 album that came out August 7th, 2001, he had a couple of singles where she was in the video, and they were the most adorable couple. But they broke up around 2003, and it was amid Usher doing a big no-no. And strategically, in my opinion, a few months to about a year later, he comes out with his most successful album to date, Confessions. And it basically detailed his love life going awry when he was unfaithful. And, it's a very salacious album with great music, honestly. It's some of his best work. But because of the content, there was a lot of speculation that Usher had cheated. And neither one of them really, they came out and they spoke on their relationship on several occasions, but it was never, there's always a lot of hearsay to me, and she recently did an interview where she spoke about why it might have been so difficult for her to move on from her relationship with Usher. And of course, this went viral and people had things to say. And so I'm going to read this interview, and it's on the Shade Room. And I want to, of course, we're going to definitely talk about it afterwards. And I just have my insights because sometimes it is hard to move on after relationships, especially when you really love the person. But let's get to this interview. So this is from June 1st, and it says, it's titled, Chilli reflects on the past relationship with Usher and difficulty they shared moving on. And, she got candid and, let's see, she was in an exclusive interview with People magazine. And, I'm just going to read some of the highlights. And it says, from here, it says also she explained why the relationship ultimately did not work out. Now, this is where people were kind of giving her the side eye in the comments. We were like, girl, you're not making no type of sense. She said, well, we definitely had some chemistry, but working chemistry does not mean it works in your personal life. If we were working, it was great. But outside of that, we are so different. So people just didn't get it. They were like, girl, that don't make no sense. You sound real dumb right now. But I understand what she was trying to say. It's just, you can have chemistry and you can feel a person and you can really like a person, but your fundamental differences, whether you have differences in morale, differences in just how you do fundamental things in your life, that can really be difficult to make a relationship work. That's like, religion is a huge thing. If being a devout Muslim is very important to you and your whole life centers around your Muslim faith, everything you do is just based off of that. If you're dating someone who is a Christian, those are completely two different types of faiths. And let's say they have their views and their lifestyle is based on their Christian faith. It would be, there would be some challenges there. We can't act like that is invalid. So I understood what she said. Additionally, I'm moving on. Additionally, the singer explained that their pair relationship looked great. However, Usher knew he had to be a certain way with the singer, but wasn't able to do so. So then she says, it looked great, but in real life, he knew he had to be a certain way with me and he couldn't. And so for me, that, I don't know what that 100% means because she's being very vague. To me, it sounds like great media training. I'm going to give y'all the info, but not really. But what we can only speculate from that is, on the outside, it looked beautiful. She's this beautiful, very all natural beauty, and Usher is just debonair and sexy, and they both are kind of in their own ways. And, it was just a heartthrob relationship. But once again, her values, within the relationship probably didn't match hers. So in ways that he wanted to be romantic or in ways that he probably wanted to live out his life, it just didn't work for how she operated and vice versa. Okay. So, some people had, on Twitter, they're messy. To me, it's a little messy, but I mean, it is what it is. They were at Toni Braxton's wedding. Toni Braxton got married in 2001 to, oh my God, I forget his name, but Lewis, I think his last name. But yeah, the singer from Mint Condition. And yeah, I mean, people are just like, why did y'all bring that up? But anyway, the singer explained that she and Usher remained in on and off contact until 2019. So this is where everybody kind of was like, sis, what's going on? So according to the outlet, the pair exclusively dated between 2001 and 2004. However, Chilli explained that despite their breakup, they remained in contact on and off until 2019. She said, I love hard. I was like, God, why can't I get over this? He couldn't either. Okay. So more people on Twitter being slightly messy, and they're just sharing pictures of them, like just being lovey-dovey on each other. And I mean, they were an adorable couple. It's just like a little messy because, he's moving on and she obviously is in a relationship too. She's in a relationship, I believe, with one of the Lawrence brothers. But, she was just open about her past. And additionally, the singer explained that during the period of being on and off, she would refrain from dating other men because she feared that she would be straddling the fence between two love interests. She says, I even stopped dating because before that, I thought that if I met the right guy during that time, that I wasn't over Usher, it wouldn't work. I would never want to straddle the fence. However, Chilli later realized that she needed to focus on herself. Yeah, so here, I mean, I just think like, it's not, I understand her here too. She did not want to come off like fake. you're in a relationship with this new person, everything's great, but your heart is with somebody else. So she just had a hard time getting over this relationship, and she just didn't want to be a disservice to a new, love in her life when she knew she couldn't get over a previous love. She said she loves hard. That's very relatable. Some people were just like, girl, I don't understand, child. If I met the love of my life, I would be. But that's the thing. If she met the love of her life, she wouldn't have these issues, right? I mean, that's also another side to it too, but it could also mean that she just has a hard time getting over things, and she focuses on an aspect that doesn't necessarily, matter. Maybe their chemistry was hot, their romance was hot, but it doesn't mean that you have to dwell on that part to determine why you can't move on. I personally feel like you can have amazing chemistry with someone and realize that it can't work. But for a lot of people, that takes them a while to understand, because there's more to making a relationship work than just chemistry or a connection. You want to have a connection, but I don't think that that's the only thing that makes a relationship work. I've seen plenty of beautiful relationships that were hot and steamy, and they fizzled so quickly right after that. So Chilli later realized that she needed to focus on herself. The singer has no hard feelings, and she moves forward with Matthew Lawrence romance. Yes, she is in the relationship with Matthew Lawrence. I just didn't want to I didn't want to misquote. Today, Chilli explained that she has no hard feelings for her ex. In fact, according to the outlet, the singer believes that her past experiences have prepared her for her current partner, actor Matthew Lawrence. He wants to be the best guy he can be and who God wants him to be. God willing, one day we'll get married. That's beautiful. Chilli, for those of you who don't know, she was part of the group TLC. She was in a relationship with Dallas Austin, their producer who produced some of the greatest hits of the 90s. She eventually had a son with him. I think his name is Tron, I believe. And I could be wrong, but she has like a 25 or 26-year-old son. And she is very open about her past relationships. You can see it, detailed in interviews and in their biopics where, he basically was cheating on her. It was a very difficult relationship with her, and she eventually got over it. And, then she started dating Usher, and, she also, became a Seventh-day Adventist, and she's very open about her faith there too. So, for me, once again, it comes down to values. Like, for me, it's giving, she is a big believer in God. Even in she had a dating show with What Chilli Wants. And she had this long list. I don't remember if y'all, child, she had this list, baby, of what she was looking for. If I can find it, I will play it. But she had this list, honey, and I think that's what it is. I feel like with Usher, he had to be a certain way, aka the heartthrob, aka bad boy, and was living a lifestyle that just didn't match deep down in her heart what she was trying to live. So the relationship just couldn't work. So let's see. She says about Matthew Lawrence, he wants to be the best guy he can be and who God wants him to be. God willing, one day we'll get married. I think I just read that. She's sweet. She wants to get married, and that's what I was leading to, she's 53. I think she's 52 or 53 years old, and she wants to get married. She still believes in this lovely fairy tale, and I believe she wants to do it in a way that is appeasing to the God that she serves. So, that's not easy to find. And I can relate to that. So, as the Shade Room previously reported, her group mate T-Boz is also rooting for the couple's future. In March, the 53-year-old told People, relaying to T-Boz, that she's never seen Chilli so happy. She's so happy. Take it from her sister. Trust me, I've never seen her like this. And, on the outside looking in, people can see, like, wow, there's a difference here, That doesn't always necessarily mean that the relationship is meant to be, but it is it is good when other people who are closest to you can see that this is a positive impact on your life. At the time, Chili also interjected into the interview and echoed her groupmate's sentiments. I am ecstatic. He's the best, and she approves. Before this, Chili explained that not only is she interested in marriage to Lawrence, but she's also open to having kids with the actor. I would never say that I'm done with families. I gotta be married for sure, and I'm not married yet. She wants that happily ever after, y'all. I mean, people are saying what they're gonna say, but I mean, the truth is like if she feels like she could continue to have babies and she wants to, continue in this love life with him and wants to be into a happily ever after, if Matthew Lawrence is that man that is giving her all of that, then so be it. I think that, first of all, she's healthy as a mug. She looked like she is 27 years old to me. I mean, I might be reaching with the 27, but I feel like it's all possible for everyone. And I just think, like, once again, my thoughts on this is we just got to move forward and realize when enough is enough in a relationship. I've had my fair share of these ups and downs when I wasn't sure about my romance and how things would end up. But at the end of the day, I'm so glad that I learned from those mistakes and I was able to move on. There are so many people in romantic relationships that don't really know when to let go. There are people in friendships and they've been friends with a person for years. And, oftentimes what we do is that we say, this person I've known for a long time, or I know this person's heart. They have great intentions. I understand them. So we use that as a justification for their actions. So then we stay in situations longer than what is needed. And whether we want to admit it or not, we're looking for that reciprocation also. We're looking for grace just as much as we're wanting to receive, we're wanting to give it. So I think that deep down, and I can only speak for myself, I don't know if any of you guys can relate. Oftentimes we stick out relationships that we probably deep down know aren't good for us because we're facing the flaws within ourselves that needs the same grace. Or it could be loneliness. It's familiar. This is the only type of love that you think you can get. This is the only type of camaraderie that you think that you need, or you don't, sometimes it's hard to start over. Sometimes it's scary to go out there and meet new people. And I'm talking in general. It could be anything. It could be a job. It could be a church. It could be a city. Sometimes we hold on to things for reasons that tend to hold us back. Conversely, sometimes we let go of things earlier than what we should have instead of letting it work itself out. Sometimes we're too quick to cut things off, and sometimes we don't see things through. It's extremely unfair, but unfortunately, this is life. And that was a hard lesson that I had to learn, that people cut me off and didn't give me a chance. And it broke my heart because I felt like, man, like I'm holding on and I'm willing to give them a chance. And they just threw me away for whatever reason. And even if I found out, because, sometimes people walk away from you and they don't tell you why. They're just like, man, I'm out. But other times it is because, like it's just a misunderstanding. Like, you're thinking something about me that's not true, or your perception of a situation is not what it is. Or once again, just believing things that, whether somebody told you something about me that wasn't accurate based off of their perception, now you're holding on to what they said. It's all a he say, she say. It's a lot of things. So I've been on both sides where I've just been like, nah, bro, I'm done before we could even form something deep. Or I'm holding on so tightly to something that is harming me, that is not necessarily best for me, but I'm holding on out of loyalty. So like Chilli, they'd broken up in 2004. I'm sorry, I'm about to say 2014, 2004, but she was holding on. And I mean, why? Why would she hold on 15 years after? And then she said that she was very candid by saying he wasn't over it either. They were a beautiful couple that had beautiful chemistry. And once again, that chemistry is hard to die. And sometimes we hold on to the possibility of what if because of that chemistry. I've been there. Sometimes I feel like I'm currently there, because there are people that you naturally rock with more than others. There are people that may be better for you on paper. And they're showing you the love, and they're showing you the things, but they truthfully, you just don't feel that spark with them. So you'll hold on to a love. You'll hold on to a friendship. You'll hold on to the perks of a job. You'll hold on to anything, anyone that gives you that spark. But in the long run, it's not giving the popular phrase, it's not giving what it's supposed to truly give. And that in itself can be an issue because, once again, we're honestly going to make mistakes, but there are some mistakes that I don't want to say you can't come back from, but it alters your life, and i.e. can definitely waste your time. So I think that we have to look at the facts, and we have to let go of our feelings. I don't want to say let go of our feelings as if they don't matter. I'm saying letting go of our feelings in the sense that that cannot be the decision maker and the determining factor on what we choose to stay versus go. So for me, in my personal relationships, like Chilli, I can certainly relate. I love hard, and sometimes it is hard for me to let go. And there's other times where it's easy. And when it's hard for me to let go, I do look at, wow, this person was so great to me. They're so sweet. They're so nice. Oh my gosh, I know they did this, but their heart and their intention is pure, so I forgive them. People have loved me through my drama. People have loved me through my hurt, so I don't want to, disappoint, and I don't want to be a hypocrite, so, I'm just going to keep them around. And I remember a therapist telling me, yeah, those people kept you around because they were able to handle what you did, but there were some people that they just couldn't handle it, and you have to be okay with the fact that they weren't able to handle you. And you also have to determine what you're able to handle. You also have to get real with yourself and determine what is true for you. And that's why I always recommend therapy. I always recommend just understanding what is healthy versus what is not. If you understand what is healthy and you analyze your life and you look at how your life is going, you're not being complacent, you're not making any excuses, that put aside, you're looking at everything and you're determining what you need and what you want, what your goals are, what your desires are, and what deep down in the long run is truly important from a healthy standpoint. We don't know what the future holds, but We can definitely ask for what we want, and God can certainly give it to us by faith. And if you know that there's nothing, like I said, taking everything aside, superficial, you know, lofty desires, things that aren't necessarily important, and we look at important aspects like communication. Person has to respect you. You have to be attracted to them. They have to have the same values that you have. They have to have goals that are similar to yours. What direction are they going in? Does it match yours? And I'm talking anything. I'm not just talking romance. I'm talking about friendship. I'm talking about a career, everything. Is this going in the path that you're going? And disclaimer on that. It doesn't mean that you have to throw a person away, but there's levels to relationships. There's levels to situations and, life attachments. We don't have to take everybody all the way into our deepest waters. Sometimes some relationships are meant to be superficial. Sometimes relationships can go past the 3-foot line or the 3-foot, depth of the water, So those are things that you have to think about. And it's something that I recommend that people work on. And I, speaking about Chilli, I'm glad that she was able to be candid about it and be honest. Like, hey, it took me until 2019. 15 years later. It took him that long too for us to just move forward. And I didn't want to be unfair to a new man in my life. I wanted to really get over this. And while everybody's looking like, girl, you done wasted almost 19 years of your life. Because we now see you and Matthew. The fact is that was her journey. Could she have learned earlier? Yes, she sure. I agree. I think that she could have learned earlier. I think that she could have, dated and met somebody. But the most important thing right now is that she's happy. She's learned from it. She's growing. And other people that are closest to her see her happy. And she is healthy. That is the most important thing. So I wanted to talk about this because I feel like this is relatable across the board. We have to know when to let things go, and we have to know when to give things a chance. And it's all based on what your values are. It's all based on what you're looking for out of life. And we have to level out relationships. Sometimes a relationship was once deep, and we have to bring it up to the surface a little bit, because when it was deep, things weren't going right. But it doesn't mean that that person's bad. It just means that they don't need to be there anymore. Conversations need to be had. We just have to be honest. If distance has to be had, we just have to do it. And it's reciprocal, meaning that people reserve the right to walk away from us the same way that we reserve the right to do what's best for us and walk away or level out relationships in a way that's healthy. That is what makes life difficult, this balancing act, because we're forever balancing our lives to make sure that it's healthy for not just us, but for others. And however you do it, I recommend doing it in Christ with the Word of God. But I know that a lot of people do not subscribe to Him meaning Jesus. But God gives us wisdom, And in wisdom, we have to just understand what's important. And just like everything that I spoke about earlier, I think that balancing out just means being honest with yourself, honest with your shortcomings, honest with what you desire out of life, honest about what you need to do better, and honest about the people around you. Are they draining you? Are they hurting you? Are you taking things too personally? Are these people really meaning to hurt you? Or are they really just trying to hold you accountable and you ain't trying to hear it? You know what I mean? That's part of being honest, but it's also all part of taking an honest look at the people at your life, taking an honest look at the situations you're in and determining Am I holding on, or did I let go too easily? Should I try to rekindle that if it's possible? And if I rekindle it, does it have to be as deep as it once was? Or can we just bring ourselves back, because everybody deserves grace, everybody deserves love, but measuring out and leveling out the love, leveling out the commitment, leveling out the time and energy spent. Chilli was honest with herself, and I'm glad that she was. Not only did it give great content, it gave great insight on how, this is just, for me, all too familiar. I think a lot of people would be lying if they say that they couldn't relate to Chilli. I think there's a lot of Twitter fingers, and there's a lot of people out there that are judging the situation. No, doggone well, you was on and off with Shamika or Tyrone for 20 years, and you just saying, well, we weren't together. Or you had that same homegirl that was trying you, or that same homeboy that been jealous, that been lurking on you. And that's just your dog from back in the day. And you don't know when to let go. But yet there's people in your life that you let go prematurely that you probably still think about, whether it's your homegirl, your homeboy, whether it's that girl or that man that got away. It could have been a job you quit earlier than what you should have. It could have been a church that you walked away from. It could have been a book you stopped reading. It could have been a degree program or a career path or anything that you decided not to pursue. Let's think about it, and let's be honest and decide whether we need to pick it up and try again. Probably not make it a career choice that's lifelong. Probably a hobby, but pick it back up. Or if it's a person, if it's a job, whatever it is, picking it back up. Maybe not with that same situation. Maybe it is the same person. Whatever it is, we need to be honest with ourselves, like I said. Not going to reiterate any further. Drop down in the comments and let me know what you think on YouTube about this situation with Chilli. Can you relate to being on and off with somebody for that long and not wanting to move forward until you know that your heart was resolved with that person? Or do you think that she was foolish and that she should have just moved on from that situation no matter how she felt, and she would just get over it? Have you been in that situation, or have you not? Drop down in the comments. Let me know what you think. Be sure to like, comment, share, and subscribe. Click the like button. And also download this podcast and stream it and share it wherever you hear podcasts at Voice It with Fran Lavoie. I've been your host, and thank you. Have a wonderful night.